Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Misty and welcome back to the show. It has been a very long time since I've put up a video, well over 2 weeks, and I apologise. I was unfortunately attacked by the killer plague of death, also known as man flu, and it went a bit extreme and I think I got some sort of chest infection from it, but either way my voice sounded like I had set my throat on fire and eaten gravel, so couldn't really record anything. But I'm better now, as you can hear, and normal service will resume. So, speaking of normal service, let's get to it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is potentially my new favourite tank. It's definitely competing with the T-29 and the T-32 American Heavies. I think it wins, and I'm not entirely sure why. As we'll go through the stats, it's not a super tank, but I love it anyway, because it has some exceptionally good stats where it needs it. Yes, well, British Tier 8 medium, the Centurion mk1, and it is a monster if played right. And how do you play it right? Well, I'm going to show you, hopefully, or at least give you some idea of how not to play it, and you can just go from there. So first things first, hull armor. Yeah, just forget about all of the hull armor. It's just not really worth it. But for clarity's sake, we will go through it. 76 at the front, 51 at the sides, 38 at the rear. So yeah, that's, you know, I mean, it's pretty sloped at the front, yes, but I think that gives it an effective armor of about 115 millimeters, which is still pitiful at tier 8. Just don't try to bounce shells. I mean, even fully angled, you're gonna have to go at that sort of angle to get an auto ricochet, but then someone's just going to shoot you in the sides, and with 51 millimeters it's going to go straight through. So yeah, avoid getting shot at as much as possible. That being said, your turret armor is nowhere near as bad. In fact, you could argue that it's actually pretty damn good. You got 165 at the front, 112 at the sides and rear, and a decent gun mantlet on it. I mean, it's not American Heavy sort of gun mantlet, but that's still a solid chunk of metal on the front there, and very sloped at the top as well here, with an extremely small commander's hatch. I mean, you look at it from the front, that's, yeah, you've got to be very accurate or very lucky to hit that. So that hopefully gives you a hint as to how you're going to play this tank, and if it doesn't, I'll explain it to you now. Actually, no, I won't. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go through the rest of the stats, and I'll explain how you play it afterwards, and hopefully some of you will grasp it through the video, and you'll be able to lord it over your friends by saying you figured out before they did. But anyway, firstly, top speed. Blech. 40 kilometers an hour. It's not really anything special. I mean, some of the big old heavies, the E100 can do 30. Admittedly, that's on a flat road, but still, that's it's not all that fast, but it will hit 40 almost instantly. You press the W key to go forward and you will be at 40. It's very good acceleration on it. I can't give the exact times it gets to 40, but it's very fast, and it's got an incredibly good power weight ratio. So going up a hill, you can climb that hill at 20 to 25 kilometers an hour without any sort of problems. And yeah, if you haven't got it now, you play this as a hill climbing tank. You want to get up a hill, put it in front of you, and crest it with this really good turret, and it's got superb gun depression on this gun. I think it's 8 degrees, and I believe the best in-game is 10 degrees, so, you know, it's up there with the very best in terms of gun depression. And you crest over the hill, and say the hill is down here, and you point that gun down, that top of the turret gets even more sloped because of the relative angle, and that becomes auto bounce territory then. So that's how you're supposed to use this gun to keep yourself alive. Keep yourself in the back somewhere. You don't want to be front lines. You are a support tank. You're not a flanking medium by any stretch, although you can accelerate quickly to flank people, but this is definitely a supporting medium, and you're going to use this fantastic gun to destroy your opponents. Let's have a quick look at this one. It's got 7.5 rounds a minute, with an average 226 armor penetration on its standard shells, which is very good for its tier. That is really good armor penetration for a tier 8 medium. Quite low damage there with 230, but I mean, you can make up for that with a really high rate of fire. You can push that up to about 8 rounds a minute with the equipment and Brothers in Arms, which I unfortunately don't have yet. I'm working towards. But with a 0.33 accuracy and a 2.3 seconds aiming time, not millimeters, good gosh, you can pick off the weak spots on your opponents from a fairly sizable distance and keep hitting them repeatedly with this rapid fire. So that 230 quickly adds up, and I've had some matches where I've done monster amounts of damage. I mean, we're not talking tank destroyer levels here, but up into the 4-5Ks quite frequently, putting this fantastic gun to use. And that's really what you need to do. Find yourself somewhere in the back, get yourself hull down, poke over a hill, take your shot, back up, move to another location with that fantastic speed, and poke back up and shoot again, and you will punish your opponents repeatedly with that rapid fire, and they will regret it. It's not a tank to be taken lightly by any stretch. Just try to avoid getting into a straight brawl. And for the people who want to know where to shoot this tank to kill it, if you can see the hull, shoot anywhere. Pretty much, you know, it's got a massive lower plate, although it is quite sloped, especially if you get close. So if you get really close and you're shooting down, that can turn into an auto bounce. But I mean, if you're that close, you just shoot onto this, and that's, yeah, there's no armor that's any worry on this part. There's also got these very flat sections here. If you hit those, they do damage. They are definitely weak spots on the front. The sides, that's spaced armor with the spaced tracks behind it, so you've got to be careful with HE, for example. But you can just shoot this layer here. You can also shoot in between here to get the track. Or this engine block here is probably your best bet. You want to shoot into this flat surface here, and from the rear, just any of that. Just shoot it. You know, it's gonna die. If you want to see the turret, cheeks for here. The gun ring is very, very susceptible to damage if people can hit it. It's a hard shot, but that turret ring can definitely be damaged. I've seen shots go straight through the gun mantlet as well, so depending on how much damage you have and whether you're firing gold and what have you, you can just go straight through there. You can try hit the commander's hatch. It's a very hard shot, as you can see, incredibly small. But yeah, I'd go for the cheeks or the turret ring. Those are your best bets if you can only see the turret. These toolboxes here, they are no hit zones, so the bullet will go straight through. Don't waste your time. They're just absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's how you fight it from the front and sides and the rear. We don't need to worry about that though. What we're worried about is how good it is in combat. So I'm going to show you 2 monster matches I had in this thing that'll showcase good ways of playing this tank and using all of its key things to make it a superb vehicle while hiding away all its weaknesses. And that can show you how dangerous it truly can be. So let's have a look at that now. Alright then, let's get this underway. We are tier 8 with our friend Atheon, playing in a tier 8 match, although it's mostly tier 7s in fairness, so we have got top tier advantage. And I've been having some very good matches on this map. And this is one of them. I would, spoilers, by the way, spoilers. Yeah, it's a very, very good match. I honestly cannot remember whether we win, but I know it was an exceptionally good match. So I'm relocating over to the far side of the map, meet up with my clanmate over there, and I like playing this map defensively on this corner, so that's why I'm relocating over here now. And I didn't say this in the review part earlier, but it's a lovely looking tank. Let's be fair. That is a really nice looking tank. So, trying to get some cheeky shots on the Hellcat there, but he's not stupid, or he might be, but he wasn't there. He relocated out of the way. And I really shouldn't be doing this at here, although I do get some shots on, I think. And that was a terrible shot. Don't do that, guys. I shot like 10 feet behind the tank, so it's not how you aim. But yeah, I do get some shots on the opponents, but at the same point, I think it would have been better if I just got to the area I wanted to be at, and I could have been more use earlier on. But I don't know, you be the judge of whether it was worth me taking my time getting over there and putting down some pressure on the opponents as I cross the fields. Well, I suppose this is desert, not field, but you know, the saying still stands. So, trying to find some shots on some of these opponents. I'm sure I'll find someone eventually. There we go. There's the Hellcat. And I don't know how I missed. This, yeah, as you can see, there's good aim time. It's not instant, but it's fairly quick to get down to its aim, its maximum accuracy, and the accuracy on this gun is really good. I found that you can pick off weak spots from anywhere. Now, here's me getting bored. I mean, I'm trying to get to my normal location, which is where that Panther is. A bit tighter in, though. I like to hug the hill a little more. I was trying to demonstrate the good engine power, but apparently gravity decided that I was not going to do that one. You win again, gravity! Which unfortunately sucks. So, I decided to go round because, well, I don't fancy being stuck there. And I couldn't get there in time to save the poor Panther because of my beaching myself on that rock. So here's our first engagement. There's a Hellcat. We're not seeing all that much, but there's a superb accuracy on that gun. I didn't even fully aim there, and I caught him square in the turret. Get myself in behind the wreckage here to get cover from the hill. And the Hellcat's coming to crest over that ridgeline. I'm waiting for him to come back. There he is. I think he bounced, although I'm not entirely sure. That looked like it went quite wide. No, that is a bounce. Good gosh. Let's have a quick check and see where that bounced. Where did that go? Oh, there we go. Right off the mantlet. I said that mantlet is quite troll, and if you don't catch it flush, by flush I mean bang in the middle, it will ricochet off, and that's exactly what happened there. I was quite lucky it didn't ricochet down and into the engine, into the front of the hull actually, but don't argue with it. Oh, and there's me avoiding artillery. Screw you, artillery. I hate artillery. Seriously hate artillery. So, I'm finding the position I want. I can put this great gun depression to use. As you can see, I'm cresting the ridge here. All they can see is my turret. Aiming for the tracks, because that ISU 152 is a dangerous monster, and I don't want to meet it. But again, backing up there to keep myself hull down. Didn't aim long enough there, and I donked a shot straight into his turret, but it doesn't matter. Rate of fire, I'm already reloaded again. As in 6.75 seconds to reload, and that's without brother in arms. And you can put down some serious damage. We've already half health the ISU. There was another 237 off him. So we've done 702 damage to that ISU, and it's been, what, 15 seconds? You know, give or take. It's another good shot, and then ISU bounces off the turret. We've got to have a look at that. That was not something you'd expect to have happen. Where'd it go? There we go, right off the top of it. Unfortunately, I picked the worst time to pause it because I gave too much of my hull. And as you can see there, is the explosion right in the top of that hull. It's, yeah, you're not going to bounce anything off that. So, we got a lucky bounce off an ISU, and then a bad play by me, gave too much of my hull. But that's good, because that makes me more cautious now. So now I make sure I'm staying much further back, keep myself hull down, I'm putting out this damage. And the opponents, I'm not entirely sure what this T-55-2 is doing. He seems to have forgotten I'm here. Although the IS-6 hasn't. But he doesn't get the opportunity to fight me. Because I'm going to keep using this fantastic speed to relocate around this hill. As you can see, I'm pulling 30 kilometers an hour almost instantly. That was a bad shot. And the reason I did that is I pushed too far forward round the corner. So the people on the hill back at B0 and B9 could easily see me from there, so I was very conscious of that, and that's why I shot quickly to pull back. But again, cresting that hill, and you know, this may be a little boring for some people to watch because I'm pretty much doing the same thing, but this is how you win in this tank. Again, fantastic accuracy. I'm able to hit those weak spots from any position I need to cause this damage. Get a little gun-ho, eat a shot, but I secure the kill, and I think it was worth it. Luckily, again, he hit the turret and bounced off. I'm conscious that my friend behind me is having a bit of trouble. He's been rushed by 3 opponents. But I need to clear out my flank, so I can't help him until I close out this T-52. And again, another bounce, and he's got to get really annoyed now. If he knows anything about the armor in this tank, he's probably desperate to penetrate me by now. Dunked the shot there, and that could have been really useful. As you can see, my teammate's in a lot of trouble. And unfortunately, We didn't save him in time, but he did well. He managed to knock down the opponents to one-hit kills. There's me thinking, right, if I eat a shot from that ISU, I'm in trouble, so I gotta keep an eye on both. Not too worried about the Cheeto, but there comes an artillery shot. You know, they wouldn't be aiming at anyone but me. Oh, is that not? No, that was a KV-3. In fairness, that was an artillery. I gave too much myself to the KV-3 in the hill. I'm trying to keep myself in cover here. And this is some bad play. I got a bit panicky by the amount of opponents fighting me. And that was a bit daft, but I secured the kill on one of the priority targets. Keep myself in cover, and I pick up another execution there. And the tracks ate the damage from the KV-3, but unfortunately flanked with the KV-1S and killed. But we did 3,000 damage in a game that we lost with 4 kills. And we took out some priority targets there. We took out the ISU-152. Eventually, admittedly, you know, he did survive most of the game. But we put him down to one-hit kill. And he had to relocate to the other side of the map to keep himself safe because he just couldn't deal with our gun depression. And we bullied an IS-6 and a T-55-2, or T-55/2 if you want to be completely accurate, as well as executing a Hellcat early on into the match. I think for a lightly armoured medium, that's a very good return for investment there, showcasing how dangerous this tank can be if played smartly, and you do have to be cautious. As you can see, the times I took damage were times where I got overzealous and tried to get a kill when I really should have just waited and been patient. Sometimes, you know, I did take the shot intentionally, like to execute the IS-6, and I think that was worth it. But the shot I took from the KV-3 was poor positioning on my part. And like I said, guys, if you can't judge yourself, you're never going to get better. So that's why I'm telling you things. You can see what I did wrong, and then you can make sure you avoid doing them yourselves. So that was a fantastic match, but 3,000 damage just isn't good enough. So I'm going to show you how good this tank really can be. Let's have a look at that one. Right, I bet you guys weren't expecting this one. A tier 10 match. We're in our tier 8 medium. And we're going to be instrumental in how this match plays out. And I'm going to show you how good this tank is at taking on opponents with great armor, but obvious weak spots that the fantastic accuracy can punish. So, being tier 8 and being a supporting medium, I'm going to take this hill because it gives me great opportunity to go hull down and use this gun depression while keeping me out of the way of those monster guns those tier 10s have. I don't want to meet FE215B183 because it will one-shot me, and there's no way I'm going to survive that shot with this paper armor. So I climb the hill up here, and I'm actually going to stay here for most of the game. Actually, I think maybe even all of the game. But I think once you see what happens, you will understand why, and you'll be wanting to use this hill a lot more yourself, especially if you have one of these Centurions. So. Made some friends as well. Apparently I've been joined by, again, Athion, the Pershings, come up here with me. But apparently a very good T-30's joined us as well. So this match was kind of riddled with good players, according to XVM. And I don't say that sarcastically. I didn't see anyone making silly moves. It was actually a really fun match to be in. It was a great competition as all the players were playing very well. There you go, using the accuracy and the great aim time. Trying to get some shots off from that Foch. I know he's going to have to come back around the corner, so I'm going to try and take that obvious weak spot on the top of the Foch, because you pretty much have to with the monster armor that tank has for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why they justify the armor it has, but fired a bit late because of the rendering on the game. The tanks don't appear for a few seconds, even though they're invisibility, which is really annoying. But there you can see he was pulling forward, and he actually disappeared, and then reappears behind a rock rather than in front of us where he was. So, you know, it's a little nuisance with the rendering system, but, yeah, it's something everyone has to deal with. So, shot one a little high, almost got the commander's hatch, although it's not exactly where I was aiming, to be honest. I was just aiming full mass and hoping. And that one went low and hit the gun mantlet. That's never going to go through. There you can see me trying to hit the commander's hatch again. And that's a fire and hope, although that did go exactly where I pointed, so I don't know. I can't remember what health he was on before I fired, to be honest, so I may have hit him, I may not, but These are hitting hopes. You see me loading premium here because of the range. I'm trying to hit them in a weak spot, but it's a waste of money here, really. So that's why you see me going back to normal AB shells, because it's just not worth it. So it's a little boring, I will admit. Careful, T30. Big cannon just comes out of nowhere. It's not something you want to see. That Foch has got my attention at the moment because nothing else has really presented itself. But that will change. I promise you that. Thankfully, unlike the Comet, you do have a decent stash of shells, and the rate of fire isn't so absurd that you can afford to just lob some shells out like this. So I'm not too worried about ammo. Okay, somebody found the Foch. That was D100 down there. This is what I mean about tier 10s. With the paper armor you have, you've got to be careful, because if one of those hits me, I'm almost dead. I can take 2 hits from an E100, but I don't really want to. So I'm gonna just stay out the way. I'm just gonna let them guys fight it out. Apparently the Foch doesn't want any more of that. That T71 there, he had a very good match. He kept us lit up for a long time. That entire ridgeline is being spotted by that one guy. But he does meet an unfortunate end, or fortunate for us. But still no shots on. And I was thinking now, do I relocate? Do I move down somewhere to support the right flank and that T57 heavy? He's on his own against a few people. The mouse isn't pushing up. And then this is where a bit of map awareness comes in. I've noticed that the E100s have pushed across the bridge to the left. And I noticed one of them was killed. And now I notice the Foch is back. And he has friends. So I decide, no, I'm not pushing around. I'm going to take the opportunity to shoot the tier 10 in the side. Unfortunately, the pattern with us bounces. The Persian, sorry. But we do not miss that weak spot there. The fantastic accuracy. Managing to nail the views range spotters on the top of that tank. One of the obvious weak spots. And again, I've been spotted. I don't know who has shots on me now that that flank on our right has fallen as well. So I fall back and relocate. And we know these 75s come around, but just a little too low. Shot fell. I was trying to get him before he drove back, but he gives a little too much of himself there. I'm not really sure why he stuck around. And we execute him again. So that's 2 kills, although we haven't done all that much damage. Not that worried. We've, 442 damage so far. I was a little like, oh, well, this game looks like it's a loss anyway. 7-10, 2 people left tier 8s against pretty much all tier 9s and 10s. Yeah, that's not going to make any difference. We are going to go to town. And so it begins. T57's giving too much for himself. Put a shot into the lower plate, although the Pershing that was with me just got vaporized. I'm going to use that mouse teammate over there, and he's going to be a great distraction. And as you can see from XVM, these players I'm against are very good. The Batchat and the FE215B especially. But here, I'm just playing smart. Fire once, relocate, drop off their map from the Sixth Sense, letting me know how long I'm spotted for. And this was a bit brave. And that could have been really dangerous. As I said, he was the kind of guy who could well one-shot me. But because he could only see my turret, he managed to hit the ground in front of us. And again, shot off the turret. And that's from a tier 10 heavy tank. So that shows you how good that turret actually can be. Once I come out of sniper view now, I'll try and show you where the shot landed. Although I may be in sniper view for a while. But now we're up to 1,270 damage, and we've killed 3 opponents. One of them being the second best, or maybe the best player on the opponent's team in that dangerous tank. The FE215B183. Able to do 2,000 alpha damage a shot, so I'm very glad he's dead. And the opponents are a little worried. They're not cresting that hill anymore. And that would have been a nice shot if it had gone in. Could have helped us out a lot, but just a little too low. But again, you can see the shots aren't deviating much from where they were aimed. It's just I'm not having that much luck in terms of the opponent giving me a good shot. And he's being brave, that T-57 Heavy. He is giving me just enough of his tank to shoot at. I don't know whether perhaps he's thinking, I'm a tier 10, I can take the beating from a tier 8, but that was a poor shot, and that was my opportunity to execute him then. But I flicked the gun a little too far, and that one I didn't aim well enough. So those are two poor shots, and it wasn't the gun's fault, it was actually mine. I didn't aim them properly. I think I was getting a bit ahead of myself, thinking, right, I've got to kill this off before the Batchat comes round. And there he is, the Batchat, executing off the mouse that was supporting us. So now we're in a bit of a problem here. I'm stuck on a hill. I'm being surrounded by tier 9 to 10 opponents. I have got the FE215B183 on my team down to my side, and he will play exceptionally well, proving XVM doesn't mean everything. There he goes, just executes off that E75. I think I've said execute about 10 times so far. You could make a drinking game out of it. You know, I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to say execute again, because I want to, and that's what that FE215B just did. That was a proper brutal execution. So we're going to go with it, and if you guys get drunk off it, then so be it. Now, we're hunting, and there's the leopard. I knew he was coming. And that's panic shot again, because I can't see where the Batchat is. So I was worried that I'm going to have more than one gun firing back at me. So I flicked the gun out, took a shot, and drove back. And again, it didn't go far off, but far off or close, it don't matter. If you missed, you missed. So we're still there, 1,500 damage. This isn't anywhere near as high damage match as the previous one. But we're at 3 kills against tier 10 opponents, so it's kind of worth it. And I think it's showcasing that even against tier 10s, you can be instrumental in this tank because of the superb gun on it. The penetration allows you to damage opponents 2 tiers above you without any serious problems. And that was straight through the gun mantle of the M103 there. Wow, that's where it looked like the shell went to me. It may have dipped slightly low and gone into the turret ring. Either way, damaging a tier 9 opponent frontally without any issues while he was hull down against an American heavy tank. That really should give you some indications of how good this gun is. Now, as you can see there, my 6th sensor's gone off. I know I've been spotted. It can't have been from the left-hand side. It probably wasn't from the front because I would have seen them myself. So the only place they can be is to the right in the bushes below me, which makes me think it's probably the Batchat, which is why I'm trying to keep the rock to my right-hand side there, so they have a very, very limited shot at me. And now I pull back and tell on the map, you can see me pinging, that's where they are. That's where the opponents were spotted last. I don't know whether the leopard is still camping behind that rock, but I know for sure the Batchat is there, because I'm getting spotted every time I crest this hill. Now you can see spotted again. And if it's the leopard who's behind that rock, I would have seen him. And there he goes, he's making a break. Came out from behind the rock, so it wasn't him who spotted me. It must be the Batchat still down in the corner. And our FE215B smells blood in the water. He sees a lightly armoured tank. But that's what I was worried about. Batchat catches him off guard. And I rush forward to help, but FE215 doesn't need it. Not with that gun on it. And that's the first damaging shot I take. And it's because I got a bit too greedy, wanted to put a shot out, and didn't keep myself hull down. And I think if we look, that was straight through the lower plate. I gave him too much like that, especially angled up on this hill. So, you know, even when you're having a good game, you've still got to be smart. You've got to be careful. And I think that was the T-30 just brutally murdering someone over on the far side. Or perhaps you would say they were executed. Ha 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 ha. Again, I was thinking of a ram here, but I decided no, let's not throw away what could have been a great match by suiciding off the hill. So I pull back till I'm not spotted, although he might be proxy spotting me. And then I think, you know what, let's do this. FE215B knocks him low. I don't even need to shoot. There's a ram kill for you to end the match in a tier 10 match in a tier 8 medium. 4 kills, 2,129 damage. mostly on tier 10 opponents and a ram kill on one of the Leopard PTAs. Because I can. This tank is superb and I highly recommend getting it. Not just because it looks great, but because it is a monster tank. And from all accounts, the next two after it are still superb tanks as well. The Centurion 7.1 and the FV4202 are both great tanks. So I'm having an internal debate between getting those and getting the Japanese tier 10 tank. Can't decide which one I want to focus on first, so I'll let you know at another time. But until that point, I highly recommend getting this, and I hope you enjoyed those videos. I will have more for you, I believe, Wednesday and Friday. So we're going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are going to be the video days from now on, and Tuesdays and Thursdays, they may be content, but it will be shorter videos. There'll be little fun things, perhaps one random match here and there. So hopefully you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. Bye-bye.